Today we are going to discuss with the topic is respiration. So actually what is respiration? How can you define? In the earlier classes you are defining the definition of respiration as inspiration and expiration. Inspiration and expiration. So actually what is inspiration and what is expiration? Inspiration means intaking of oxygen. Expiration means releasing of carbon dioxide. So this is the definition which you have studied in the earlier classes, that is 7th standard or 8th standard, 6th standard, like that. So but as you are in SSC, here you are going to define respiration as a oxidation of food materials. Oxidation of food materials. So actually what is oxidation? Oxidation means addition of oxygen. Oxidation of food material. What is food material actually? This food material should be in the simple form. Already you have studied in the nutrition chapter. What is the simplest form of food material? For example, if you take carbohydrates, in case of carbohydrates, the simplest form is glucose. If you take fats, the simplest form of fats is fatty acid. And if you take the other food molecules like carbohydrates, fats and proteins, what are the simplest form of proteins? Amino acids. So you have studied in the nutrition chapter what is digestion. So here these molecules are said to be complex molecules. So these complex molecules are converted into simple forms. These are the simplest form of food molecules. So here the oxygen is added to this food molecule, and this process is said to be oxidation of food molecules. So here the glucose is added with oxygen and it releases carbon dioxide and it releases water, and also it releases large amount of energy in the form of ATP. So here the process of oxidation of food material to produce carbon dioxide, water and large amount of energy in the form of ATP is called as respiration. So this is the definition. How can you define respiration at SSC level? At SSC standard, you have to define the respiration as a oxidation of food material to produce carbon dioxide, water and large amount of energy in the form of ATP. Here as the oxygen is being added, we can also call this respiration as a aerobic respiration. We can also call it as a aerobic respiration. So in Telugu we can call it as Vayu Shwasakriya. Vayu means oxygen, Shwasakriya means respiration. So here actually where is this oxygen? The oxygen is present in the atmosphere. So you know already the percentage of oxygen in the atmosphere is 18%. So the oxygen which is present in the atmosphere, this oxygen will be absorbed into the body by the process of inspiration. During the process of inspiration, what is happening? The oxygen which is present in the atmosphere, it enters into the body. After entering into the body, this oxygen is adding with the glucose. Actually where this glucose comes from? The glucose is coming from the complex carbohydrates which we are taking as a food. When we are taking the food, the starch which is present in the food is converted into simplest form called as glucose by the action of enzymes. So this glucose is combining with the oxygen. The oxygen which we are taking inside, this oxygen is reaching to the cell, and inside the cell the glucose is also present. The glucose is combining with the oxygen. This we are calling it as a oxidation, as the oxygen is adding to the simplest form of glucose and it produces carbon dioxide, water and also ATP. And here sometimes in some organisms like microorganisms, if you take the microorganism like yeast, already you know yeast belongs to fungi. Yeast belongs to, what is the scientific name of yeast? Saccharomyces. Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So this yeast which belongs to fungi kingdom, in the absence of oxygen, this yeast may converted the glucose in the absence of oxygen, the yeast may be convert the glucose into ethyl alcohol. What is the formula of ethyl alcohol? C2H5OH, which we can also call it as ethanol. So here, as the process of glucose is converting into ethanol or ethyl alcohol in the absence of oxygen, this type of respiration is called as anaerobic respiration. So this is called as anaerobic respiration. In Telugu we can call it as avayu శ్వాసక్రియ. avayu శ్వాసక్రియ అంటే ఇక్కడ ఆక్సిజన్ లేని సమక్షంలో శ్వాసక్రియ జరుగుతుంది కాబట్టి we are calling it as a anaerobic respiration. And this type of anaerobic respiration mechanism is also seen inside our body, especially in case of muscles. In case of muscles, where there is lack of oxygen, the glucose present in the muscles may be converted into lactic acid. So the conversion of glucose into lactic acid in the muscles is called as also a good example for anaerobic respiration. Suppose if there is excess of lactic acid in the muscles in our body, it may leads to severe pains. Commonly we are seeing daily in the exercise, morning exercise, most of the people while they are doing exercise, when they are doing exercise, when there is lack of oxygen, due to the lack of oxygen in their muscles, the glucose is high, but there is no oxygen concentration is less. As the concentration of oxygen is very less, automatically the lactic acid will be accumulated, and due to the accumulation of lactic acid in the muscles, it may lead to commonly severe pains. That is why most of the people who are doing strenuous exercise are saying that they are having body pains. So that is also one of the common example in our daily life. That is a good example for anaerobic respiration. So here there are two types of respirations. One is called aerobic respiration and another is called as anaerobic respiration. Aerobic, sometimes they are asking question, write the differences between aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Students, you have to define here the definition of respiration, the definition of aerobic respiration and the definition of anaerobic respiration, and differences between aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. So here, while you are writing the differences, you can say aerobic respiration occurs in the presence of oxygen, anaerobic respiration occurs in the absence of oxygen, and you can also write in the form of equation also. Just before we are written here, glucose formula is C6H12O6 in the presence of oxygen 6O2 gives rise to 6CO2 plus 6H2O and also 686 kilocalories of energy. What is calorie? Calorie is the unit of energy. So the carbohydrates are yielding large amount of energy. The energy unit is calorie. Here commonly 1 molecule of glucose in our body may leads to 686 kilocalories of energy. So like that you can write the equation chemically. C6H12O6 plus 6O2 gives rise to 6CO2 plus 6H2O and 686 kilocalories. And you can also write the equation for anaerobic respiration also. For example, if you take anaerobic respiration, C6H12O6 in the absence of oxygen, it gives C2H5OH plus 2CO2 carbon dioxide. This is also good example for fermentation. This is also example for fermentation, kinvana prakriya. Here the fermentation is also good example for anaerobic respiration. which we are seeing in case of yeast or fungi kingdom. So, here students, you have write the answers for aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration, differences between aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration, and equations for aerobic respiration, and what is the simplest form of carbohydrate, what is the simplest form of fat, what is the simplest form of proteins. Sometimes they may be asked questions, what is the simplest form of protein? You can write the answer amino acid. What is the simplest form of fat? You can write the answer fatty acid. What is the simplest form of starch? You can write the answer as a glucose. So, here you can write the answers like that, and write the, sometimes they are asking write the chemical equation for respiration. You can write, most of the time they are asking for 1 mark question, define respiration with a chemical equation. You can write this. So, like that you can write this. In the next class we will discuss in detail. We are saying that the oxygen is present in the atmosphere, how this oxygen is moving into the body, what is the special system in our body, what are the special organs present in our body, what is the role of lungs, what is the role of epiglottis, what is the role of trachea, larynx, all this we will discuss in the next class. Students, you can copy all this and write the answers for the questions which are given. In the next class we will discuss about the mechanism of respiration in human beings. Thank you.